The definition of a path has many meanings: a trodden track or way, a roadway, a route, a course of action or conduct. It can mean the course or direction in which something moves. A path can mean a way of life. It could also mean an itinerary. Now, what if this path is not straight? It could be bent or curved. It could be raised to one side or uneven, winding, twisting, and turning. Isn't that what life is? An ever-changing path that we all follow in our own way and on our own terms? Come and join me, and together we can start walking the crooked path. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Walking the Crooked Path. I am your host, Ravenwings, and today I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Vivienne Moss. She wrote a wonderful book that I got to read, and I highly recommend everybody picking up this book. It is from Pagan Portals, which is Moon Books. It's called Hekate, a Devotional. Very, very well-written book. I can't speak, but she writes quite well. So, Vivienne, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone.
and she's got the most beautiful dog there, too. You guys are missing out on it because we don't have video. Sorry. Now, your book that you wrote, there's a part in here that you said that it's almost like a grimoire, which it is. It's almost like reading, your personal book of shadows.
Yes.
I love that. It's almost like a sneak peek into an author's life. So yeah, I love that fact completely. Now in the book you say you're a cottage/hedge witch. Can you explain to our listeners, what that is?
Yes, cottage witchery for me is the witchcraft of the home and the kitchen. It's simple, full of love and warmth of the family. It's tea leaf readings, herbal remedies, just cooking with love, and then hedge witchery is deeper and darker. It's the spirit flights, the connecting with spirit realm, the fairy realm, the dead, necromancy. It's just working with nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of very similar to what I do. I consider myself an earth witch and a kitchen witch. So I know what you mean by that. With earth witchery, we work with everything, with the fae and all of nature. And it's not just nature. I mean, it's the entire planet. So you work with all your elements of air and fire. And it's actually quite interesting. It's a very good path I found for myself because I'm more of an outside person anyway. So it's a very nice path where you get to learn everything.
Very freeing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not as constricted as a lot of different paths are. Now,
Exactly.
Can you tell us how Hecate came to find you? Because we all know that we may look for goddesses and gods, but technically it's them that come to find us.
It all happened during a spring, and it was a very stormy night, storms all around. It was radars were all red, and I was just reading on Facebook, and up popped an article on Hecate, and it was about her being the goddess of storms. So I just petitioned her during that storm and prayed to her and asked that, keep us safe, my family safe from the storms, and if she did, I would write a book, and we were safe from the storms, and that is what I did. I devoted my life to her and wrote a book for her.
And that's amazing. And you've talked with her.
Yes, I have. Yes. And dream state and trances. Yes, all the time. I talk to her every day.
And that's great. I mean, I wish I could say that. I would love to be able to say that I've actually spoken to a goddess, because that would be like the ultimate for me. I guess I just, haven't found which one is mine yet. I mean, I had Diana for quite some time. But I don't know. I've veered down so many paths since her. I think I lost her somewhere along the way. So
yeah, and that's how I was. I was with the Morrigan for a while, but it was Hecate who really, really called to me, and I think it was that storm, and it just clicked, and it was just meant to be, I guess.
That's amazing. Now you talk about a key in your book. Can you tell us about that key?
Yes, a skeleton key is what I use. And it's Hecate is the key bearer. She holds the keys to the gates of the realms and of the crossroads. And I use the key not only as a sign of protection. I keep one hung up by my door to protect the house from any spirits or even humans that might want to come in and harm my family. But I also use the key for entrance for trance states to the spirit realms and fairy realms.
Oh, see, now that's amazing. That is awesome. And you talk a lot about the crossroads in your book. Can you tell us about that? Because it's not meaning just, two roads that cross. There's actual meaning to the crossroads.
Yes, and it's actually Hecate's crossroads it's a three-way crossroads. She is Hecate Trivia. In ancient times, they would leave Hecate suppers at the crossroads for the spirits. Usually it was the homeless who would eat those. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and it's crossroads. I mean, crossroads can mean anything, like a crossroads in your life, a direction that you need to take. You have a choice of 3, 4, 2 different ways.
Mm-hmm. And when we leave gifts at the crossroad, now, from what I've heard, I didn't read it in your book, but I've heard that you're supposed to leave them there and turn around and walk away and not look back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Now, that's for herself, yes. And it doesn't matter if animals come up and eat it or whatever. It's
exactly. That's why you always leave something that can be consumed by the animals.
Mm-hmm. No, and I've heard that it's always good to cook her something special, not just something you wouldn't eat, but something that you would eat.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, yep. Same thing that you would do for your ancestors. You would cook them something that you would eat, something that they love. Mm-hmm. Yes. And
the ancestors do play a large role in the Hecate worship as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, she is a goddess of the dead, a goddess of the underworld. So yes, ancestors play a very big part.
And now, you mentioned the Fae, so the Fae must play a role in your life with the worship of Hecate as well.
Yes, they play a role with Hecate and without. I mean, they are everywhere. They are part of the dead. When you read The Fairy Faith in Celtic Countries, Celtic Countries by Evan Wentz, the locals there described that the Fae and the dead were pretty much the same. They are intertwined. They live together. The wild hunt, to me, is both the dead and the Fae. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very, very connected.
Yeah, see, I do some Fae magic and stuff, and the Fae are a little tricky. They're kind of interesting because it's not like everything is Tinkerbell or a pixie. You do have some nasty sides to the Fae as well. You have the tricksters, and you have the ones that just want nothing to do with humans at all. So yeah, I mean,
blame them sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had a few people, gentlemen that bought a home from a little old lady who had passed. And she had a beautiful garden. Well, it had gotten overgrown. And since he had moved in and bought the house and he started fixing up the garden, he goes, I find things are missing. And I find these pretty rocks everywhere. He goes, and I hear these bells. I said, well, it seems like whatever you're doing, the Fae like. So they must be happy that you're, trying to weed out the overgrown garden and make it look nice again. And he's taken pictures of these bright lights that look like little fairies with wings. And I mean, It's just awesome. Yeah, he keeps in touch with me. And time he sees something new, he'll send me a picture. So it's really kind of cool. It is really cool.
That's now, an experience.
Yeah. Now, you say Hecate is considered the life and death goddess. Can you explain that a little bit?
The life, she is a rebirther of souls. She is a torchbearer, mother of angels, the holy creatrix. She is life. And not only that, but she is also death. I mean, for there to be life, there's death, and death brings life. And she's queen of ghosts and shadows, queen of the dead, the dread queen. To me, she is everything. She is death and life.
Yeah, and it is part of the circle of life anyway. I mean, death is part of life. It's the only thing that's guaranteed in life is death, So, and I had always looked at Hecate as like a very dark goddess, just, like a doom and gloom type of thing. And your book pointed out a lot of the positive sides to Hecate. There are a lot of positive sides to Hecate. She's not just doom and gloom and, you're going to hex somebody and you call it in the name of Hecate or whatever the case may be. And it was amazing to read that because it gives me a brighter perspective on Hecate as a goddess herself. So, and a lot of people who I'm sure were like me that was thinking, oh no, I couldn't have Hecate as my goddess because she's too dark or whatever. Reading this book will bring a whole new light to Hecate. I really do believe that, because it did for me. I was just amazed at how you look at her. You know, maybe everybody doesn't look at her the same way, but looking through your eyes at Hecate was very enlightening for me.
Yes, and I have heard from others that have read my book, and they have had the same experiences with her and feel the same, and we're very happy to hear that they're not the only ones who see a light side to this goddess, not just the dark.
Yeah, and she is a light goddess, and she does try to, help you, but she also lets you make your own choices and is there to laugh at you when you make the wrong ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And to cheer you on when you make the right ones. But you visit her at her cave. Is that true?
Yes, in the dream state or trance state, yes. In her cave, the cave of Hecate, always by a seaside. She is a goddess of the sea, land and sky. But yeah, it's a cave. It's just an old cave, but it's like a almost cottage like what you would see in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
The fire and all the baubles sitting around on a table, and yeah, it's like it's home, and it's beautiful.
And it sounds awesome because you get to hear the waves crashing and
Yes.
and all that. See for me, the salt air and the smell, and I would go crazy. I'd be like, yes,
Yeah,
I'm home.
Florida, so that helps.
Oh, there you go. I lived in Florida
Yeah.
for 20 years, so I can relate. Now, when you do these trance-like, dreamlike things, it's not always at the cave, though. You have gone to different places to meet with Hecate.
Yes, it's in spirit flight and just wherever she decides to take me. Sometimes in the woods, on the mountain, Witch's Mountain, all different places, old cottages. It's fun. It's just a different trip every time. Most often it's at the cave, but I love it when she shows me a new place.
Yes, field trip.
Yes, exactly.
And now, have you ever been frightened?
Oh yes, very frightened. I write about one where I'm running and I'm frightened and I fall, and you still feel it when your heart's pounding when you come out of the trance, and yeah, it can be very frightening.
See, that was
That's why I always hold that key, and I have a rock with a symbol for Hecate on it that I hold, and that just kind of anchors me to the earth realm, to the waking world.
see that's my biggest thing. I would love to astral travel, but I'm so scared that I would go there and never come back. That's my biggest fear. I would like it there and just never come back.
Yeah. But then at least, I mean, you'd be somewhere you liked, and
Yeah,
gods, and so yeah.
yeah. It's kind of a give or take type of thing.
So that would be hard.
Yeah,
It's not like that.
it's that give or take thing.
Yes, exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history behind Hecate? Because there isn't really, there is, but there isn't really a lot of history with Hecate, written history, I should say.
Yeah, there isn't. It's hard. She's very ancient, and I think that's the reason she's so ancient that we don't know a whole lot about her. Not a lot of written. She's believed to have started out in Turkey, in Asia Minor. She was first depicted as young, as a maiden, not as a crone, as most people see her now. She was a beautiful goddess, still is a beautiful goddess. That is how she was originally worshipped in single form. It wasn't until Roman times that she was worshipped in triple form.
Mm-hmm.
When the Romans took over and Zeus took over, she was so popular that he gave her pretty much this queenship over the sea, sky, and land.
Now, isn't there a story about her with Persephone?
Yes, there is. It would have been when Persephone was stolen, kidnapped, and taken into the underworld, and she is the one that heard Persephone scream and let the other gods and Demeter know that she had been taken.
Now, did she go to get Persephone?
That some say yes and some say no. I mean, she's the one that leads the way with her torches to find Persephone. And some of the myths, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to take a short break right now to listen to some of our wonderful sponsors. But when we come back, we're going to talk more about the book and also about your business. So stay tuned, guys. We will be right back.
I'm going to share with you a company founded on passion. A passion dreamed into existence by two lightworkers to share the gift of holistic healing with the world. Acting on the belief that infusing ritualistic components like the use of crystals and moon cycles, Reiki and more, enhances the quality and energetic profile of their alchemic creations and their spiritual workings. A passion for the rare and unique that touches all they create and do. What is this wonder-filled place, you ask? It's the altruistic apothecary, a place of magical items, like rune sets, god and goddess statues, amulets and talismans, incense, balms, bath salts, and more. A place of spiritual guidance and healing from an intuitive medicine woman, holistic health practitioner, and Reiki master, offering spiritual medium readings, rune readings, healing sessions, and more. It's there. They're ready. The door is open. All you have to do is ask, and they will share with you all the secrets they possess to help you on your path. Find them on Facebook or on their website, www.altruisticapothecary.com, ALTRUISTICAPOTHECARY.com. Wonder awaits you. Are you ready to have some fun? Then come and check out Raven's Shadow Crafts, home of the Poppet with a Pocket. These unique handmade poppets come ready to go, pre-stuffed with herbs and in colors designed for your intent. They also have a pocket on the back to add any herb, stone, or personal item you want to make this poppet complete. Just charge and it's ready to go. Other handmade items are gree-gree bags, goddess symbols, mini skull magnets, and more. So check them out on Facebook at Raven's Shadow Crafts. Park your broom and stay a spell. That's www.facebook.com/Ravens Shadow Crafts. We'll see you there.
And welcome back, everybody, to Walking the Crooked Path. I am your host, Raven Wings, and we are talking today with author Vivienne Moss, who wrote the book Hekate, a Devotional, which is from Moon Books. It is a pagan portal book. Very, very good book. If you would like to learn about Hekate, I really suggest this book. It's very well written. And it's easy to follow, and it's like reading her grimoire. So, it's almost like grabbing somebody's diary and getting to read their diary, which is kind of cool. I did have a question in the chat room from Mrs. Brown. Where can we purchase the book?
The book can be purchased on Amazon, or you can get a signed copy through my Etsy shop, WitchMothersDen.
And that's WITCH Mother's Den. Okay, yeah. So no Y in that one. We have a lot of witch things, and they put it WYTCH. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood. This one's got no Y. You also talk in a chapter of the book about different things that you can offer Hecate. Can you tell us what some of the different things that Hecate really enjoys as an offering?
In ancient times, and stuff that she still likes would have been eggs, fish, garlic, honey, olive oil, onions. But I have found that she also enjoys apples, absinthe, which is one of my favorites.
Made with wormwood.
Yeah. Mead, milk, mushrooms. There are so many things. And what's wonderful is that you can test it and see if she likes something that you want to offer, and you'll know if she doesn't like it. She'll let you know, and you'll know if she does like it. There are so many things. Poetry, you can offer her poetry. I offered her this book that I wrote. Mm-hmm. That was a huge offering to her.
And this interview is almost like a huge offering to her as well, because this is your first ever interview, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So yes. We are being very nice to Vivienne today, because this is her first ever interview. So I told her I would keep this as relaxed as humanly possible.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's not a problem. I know you have an altar to Hecate, and then you have a separate altar for the beloved dead. Why two?
With Hecate, my altar for her, I do a lot of sorcery and witchcraft on that one. And also prayers and petitions to her to help me out in life and with other things. The dead, the ancestors, a lot of my relatives are on there, and they weren't witches. They were mainly Christians, so I kind of keep that separate from the witchcraft with the ancestor altar, though I do work with the dead, like witches that have gone in the past, and things. I work with them with the Hecate altar. But with my personal ancestors, they have their own.
And that's nice. Now, do you have just one altar in your home, or do you have, two altars or several altars? Or...
Oh, I have several. I guess the shrines is more like it. I have an Avalonian shrine and a Fae area out in the back, and yeah, it's all over. There, most of it you won't even know what it is, but yeah, it's several throughout the house.
And I understand that, because like I have my altar in the office on my bookshelf. That's one that I hardly ever work with. It's mostly where my tools sit. Then I have a Fae altar in my bedroom. Then I have another altar in my bathroom that you wouldn't know was an altar. It's just shelves and stuff, so people who don't know wouldn't have a clue. And my kitchen altar for my kitchen work is actually so simple it's not even funny. I have a potpourri burner, with the tea light and the water, and you can put the herbs in it and stuff like that. So it covers all the earth, water, air, fire.
Oh, yes.
And it's all in one thing. And, people come into my house and they don't realize that, because when I work, there's no casting circles and there's none of that. It's already a protected space for me. My home is already a protected space. So I can work basically anywhere in my house, which is really nice.
Yeah, my house is the same. I rarely do the circle casting. It's only if I'm outside of the house or, out in the woods somewhere, then I might there if I feel that I need to.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like people who have started out new have come into this where you have to do this and you have to do that. And I try to explain to people, it's just like we did a tool show, because people think that they have to have every single tool to practice your arts, and yourself is your biggest tool. Using yourself. Yeah. So are there any certain specific tools that you not so much have to have, but really enjoy having to work with Hecate?
I have a couple wands that I love, but I just love the look of them. A skull, it's not a real skull, but I use that one with working with the dead. A few herbs and stuff that I just keep in a little pretty dish. They're just always on my altar. But mainly it's just natural things. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. And I love thrift store shopping and yard sailing and stuff like that. And I've picked up quite a few different tools at different places like that. Yes,
so
I have a letter opener that I use as sort of, I guess, an alchemy. Kind of has this little devil figure on it. I'm not even sure what it is, but I absolutely love it.
Yep. And some things will call to you like that too. It's like, yes, I have to have that. I have certain stones that way. I've picked up stones. I don't even know what they are, but they've called to me and said, take me home. And I went, okay. So, you also talk about hedge crossing, which is, I'm assuming, the astral flight and trance-like states. Can you explain to our listeners what that is like and how to do something like that?
That it takes practice to get in the trance state. It's a lot of rocking and swaying, and I tend to hum or chant. I have a flying ointment that I use, and it's different. You can feel yourself rising out of your body, and you just kind of go flying, and you can go into different shapes. Once you get used to it, you can go as a crow or a raven, an owl, a wolf, a fox, even a rabbit, even mythical creature. I mean, you can shapeshift into a dragon if that's what you feel. It's a wonderful experience to just fly and meet Hecate and other spirits in the what I call the Shadowlands.
Now, what have you met other gods or goddesses while you were there?
Yes, the Morrigan is one of them. Mainly goddesses. They seem to be the ones to call me. Pan. I've met him. He's a very wild god.
I could picture that because Pan
Yeah.
was always the god figure that I've always used for any time I've needed a god figure. So I could picture him being pretty
Yeah,
wild.
that's a very ecstatic. Yeah, that's something else. That's different and fun and exhilarating.
Hmm. Have you met any of the Fae?
Yes, many of them. Usually of I wouldn't want to say darker kind, but the mischievous. But I think that's just because that's how I am as well.
Hmm.
The ones that just are kind of hidden on the fringes, the unseelie, I guess, is what most would call them, though I don't see them as necessarily evil.
Hmm.
They just aren't as, kind to humans, I guess, mainly because of what we've done to the earth.
Yeah, and I think they resent us a little bit for a lot of the stuff that we've done to their
Yes.
to their realm,
Yeah.
and us going over to, I know I know when I've started reading about the Fae, they tell you if you are going to visit their realm, to be very careful because they're not as friendly when you're in their world. So I'm like, oh,
Yes,
okay
exactly.
then. So now Hecate is a triple goddess, so she is maiden, mother, and crone. Is that correct?
Some see her that way. I don't. Triple formed is mainly it's the sea, sky, and the land aspect is how I do the triple formed with her.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never done the maiden, mother, and crone.
And she has many different names. Is that correct too?
So many. She is like Isis of the 10,000 names. Yes.
Yeah, and you have a huge listing in the book. I was looking at that and I was like, "Oh my goodness.
Yes, it is huge.
Huge."
Some that I found throughout books of hers and on the internet, and then some that she is showing to me.
Mhm.
Witch Mother, and Dread Queen, and yeah, there's so many. And that's what's wonderful is that there's so many aspects to her that she is open to so many people.
Exactly. And she's considered Lady of the Beasts as well.
Yes, she is. Yes.
And she has a bunch of animals that are just on her list. I mean, right down to the Sphinx.
Yes.
I was like, wow.
Dragons. Yeah. There
Yeah.
are a lot. Once you start digging into the history of her, you'll find so many that you wouldn't have even thought of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all sorts of, yeah.
I was just like, wow. I mean, I couldn't believe how many there were. And I was like, I would never thought a Sphinx. It just, because I was thinking Isis or something like that, an Egyptian goddess would be more. But I've found, I don't know about everybody else, but I've found the more you study different goddesses and gods and stuff like that, the more that you have crossovers between, like Egyptian gods and Roman gods and Greek gods. And it's just, there's such a crossover that a lot of these gods that are worshipped otherwhere and other places by different names just seem a lot like the ones that we know.
Yes, I agree. I've seen that through the studies. I've been studying goddesses for a long time, and yeah, there are so many connections through them. They might not always be the same, but I think their energies are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And they're related. They're all, even though, I mean, we like to put them in separate boxes and of countries and everything, but I think that when it comes down to it, they're all related.
Yeah, and I've noticed that with different things too, even different paths that people walk. You'll have paths that were covered in Egypt, and they'll do a lot of the same things that the Native American Aztecs, did. And I was just like, wow, and they never had a chance to meet.
And some of their iconography is
yes.
Yeah, just it is amazing. I love reading into the history of all of it.
Oh yes, and there is a deep history. And Hecate, as a goddess, reading into the Aztec Indians way back when they were,
Mm-hmm.
you listen to a lot of their goddess, what they talked about for their spirits, and it does remind me a lot of Hecate. You know, they
Yes.
did a lot of worship to a goddess that was basically Hecate even there.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it
That's, I
just,
think she's just that ancient that it's,
yeah,
yeah.
she's
I think you
just,
can find her almost everywhere.
yeah. And I mean, it's just amazing looking into different goddesses, how you'll see that there's a little bit of each in each one.
Hmm.
So, you know, it's just a wonderful thing to look for. All right, we are going to take one more short break to listen to some of our wonderful sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about our wonderful Vivienne Moss's business so you can learn more about what she's doing now. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Hearthside Handmade offers unique, high-quality ritual tools, headpieces, jewelry, and decorative items. Each piece is individually handcrafted with reclaimed metal, bone, wood, and stone. You can check them out at their Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Hearthside Handmade. And welcome back, everyone, to Walking the Crooked Path. I am your host, Ravenwings, and today we're talking with author Vivienne Moss, who wrote the book Hekate, a Devotional. This is from Pagan Portals. It is a Moon Books publication, and it's a great, great read. I would highly recommend this read if you've ever wanted to learn about Hecate. This is definitely the read you want to read. This is written almost like you're getting to secretly dip into her Book of Shadows. So it's a very, very good read, and we're going to talk about her business right now because you've started your own business, and that's awesome. You know, that is amazing. So what are you selling in your business?
I saw what's a Hecate's Power Amulet, which is a crow's claw, a key, some wolf hair. I think I put a little skull bead in it. Also a Hecate's Protection Key, which is what I keep hung by my front door to protect the house. I have some oil blends on there right now, and soon I'll have some herbal blends for incense.
That's amazing. Plus, you're going to be working another business with your sister, correct?
Yes, I am with the Australian Labradoodles, Calypso Breeze Labradoodles. I'm going to be helping her out with that.
And they are beautiful. You should see this dog. He's
Big
so
babies. And,
yes.
They make great assistance dogs. They're hypoallergenic and wonderful dogs, sweet dogs.
That will be awesome. See, I would love to do that. I love animals. So, the last thing I wanted to get you to do before we close out today is in your book, you have written in chapter 4, you wrote, I don't want to say it's a poem, but I guess it would be a poem, called The Muse, Dark Muse. And could you read that for our listeners so they can get a kind of an idea of what this book is like?
Okay, all right, sure. Black as night on raven's wings, she conjures secrets in our dreams. Arcane knowledge and prophecy, the dark muse brings ecstasy. Bones and baubles, crystals clear, speak of magic not from here. From shadowed lands she comes to test the chosen ones who will not rest. In her cauldron of despair, she adds the treasures that we fear. Face your demons, that's all she asks, to follow through her given test. Taste the blood of the grail, those of passion shall not fail. For 7 years you belong to her, a tied to hell, are you sure? To serve the muse, it is death's sweet kiss, leading to inspired bliss.
I just got goosebumps, so that was so cool. I love that. I think it's amazing. And you have quite a few different writings that you did yourself in this book as well.
Yes.
And it's an amazing read. I highly suggest anybody who wants to learn about Hecate to read this book. It's so well written. I couldn't put it down. I was like flipping through and I just couldn't put it down. So I want to thank you so much for letting me do your first interview.
You're welcome. Thanks for going easy on me.
Yeah, I tried to keep it as mellow and as calm as possible to where you're just a couple of people chatting and just, to find out information. But yes, everybody, Vivienne Moss is on Facebook, so you can ask her questions there. You can also visit her store, WitchMothersDen, on Etsy, and get a copy of her book from there that's autographed and charged. I mean, that's even better than you're ever going to get on Amazon. You want the handwritten, signed, charged book. Go there and help her out and spread the word. You know, we're all little businesses out here, and we all need to spread the word of all the little businesses. And Mrs. Brown, just because you're in the chat room and you're listening, I'm going to hook her up with you and send her over to your little store because she's interested in the shrunken head. We discussed your shrunken head. So you may have another shrunken head sale. So, but I will hook you guys up after. Thank you so much, Vivienne, for coming on.
Thank you.
And everybody out there, have a wonderful day.